they whisper to each other, and I get taken out of the room, and the casting director turns to me and says, "You just got something lucky, because this is a much better character, and they think he's going to recur." And I was like, "Well, that's good." And they gave me the stuff, and I thought it was hilarious. I thought this is such a good comic scene. It's with Dora Schwartz, and I love Valerie. I'd seen a couple episodes, and you know, so I'm excited about it. And I read the material, and they laughed, which never happens. They always sit there like this. And when I finished, I was like, "So what did you think?" And Bill said, "Well, I wrote that scene, and I didn't know it was funny." And I said, "Oh, did you intend that to be?" He's like, "No, no, 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 no. That's much better than what I intended." And I was like, "Well, thank you." And he's like, "I want you to go with Mark and work on this and come back tomorrow for everybody." And Mark Daniels took me into a room, and the next morning he also met me for an hour. And you know, I had no idea who he was or why that was such a gift, and really worked what we were doing. And I came in and I shot that week, and then I was back the next and the next and the next for 4 years. And so I was really glad I had a bad audition in class, because if I hadn't come in bad-mouthing them, and you know, later they told me that, they were like, "Well, you know, when he came in that way, they're like, we're always auditioning people, and we always feel like those guys who are being intimidating, and you know, we're always trying to make it relaxed." And so it was so great to hear you come in and say, "Oh, it's nice to be here where you're talking to me, because these people are freaking out over there." And hearing the whole story, they loved it. And so, but it was actually, it's kind of a risk, because you don't usually come in and say, "Well, the other executive producer and casting director I was just with were out of their minds." And then it wasn't negative, because they weren't out of their minds, they were just stressed, and there were a lot of parts to cast, and it was not that they were being intimidating, it was just an intimidating situation, you know. You've been there for 4 hours, and they're like, "Now Jacqueline Bissett is going to come interview with you." You know, it's, you know, horror audition, like they are when they're trying to make big decisions. But I was really glad I went in and made those jokes. Oh yeah. My audition for Beauty and the Beast was it was interesting, because, I don't know, does anybody do visualizations? Like, well, I had for 2 weeks done these visualizations because I needed a job. And so I've been visualizing very specifically. Somebody told me that you can't just sit and say, "I need a job." You have to be very specific. So I've chosen to say, people are going to call me who I've already worked with, and they'll have a part that's very, very good for me, that shoots immediately, because if it was in 3 weeks, trouble. And it has the potential for greater things, and it's also not garbage. These were my visualizations, and I was doing them constantly. And so, basically, I had gone, and the Cirque du Soleil was new, and they were going to be in Los Angeles for a while, and I really loved their work. So I came down and talked to them about doing some backstage stuff. And I told the guy, I said, "I'll either start on Friday, or this other thing will happen." He's like, "What do you mean, this other thing? What's going on?" I was like, "Well," I said, I don't know, I have a feeling that there might be another thing." And basically I wound up getting a call from George R. R. Martin and Tom Wright, who I'd done The Twilight Zone with, people I worked with together, to come and audition for Beauty and the Beast, which would start on Monday and might recur. So it was all my visualizations were fulfilled. And I got cast on Thursday night and called the guy at the Cirque and said, "I won't be there in the morning." And he's like, "Did actually something happen?" And I told him, "What?" And he was like, "How did you do that? How did you have a feeling?" He's like, "We're all performers here. Nobody knows you have an audition." I said, "I didn't have an audition. When I met you, I had no audition." He was like, "Get out of here. So you just had some instinct that you were going to get a big television series, and so you told me you would either come here and do props or something else, and something else was what you..." He was like, "That's amazing." And he's like, he was like, "God bless you." And so I never worked for the Cirque du Soleil. Even though they've become a huge organization, I probably should have hitched my car to them. They're like worth billions Oh,